Dr. Whitley works with a hypothesis that God does not make mistakes, and that the autonomic nervous system is in control of everything, and therefore when you adjust the tongue, opening up the airway, the autonomic nervous system kicks in and takes care of the rest.
We just work on this hypothesis. It's a scientific principle that God doesn't make mistakes. There's a reason why you're having to have a CPAP. Reason why you wake up and don't feel refreshed and don't have energy. There's a reason why you have atrial fib. On and on and on. There's a reason. So if we suddenly change that reason, I hope you won't get mad at me, because all that stuff is part of the autonomic nervous system, and that basically we're going to just affect it a little bit, and it's going to do all the rest. It's the automatic part of your nervous system. Good Lord put that in there so you don't have to think about redoing your atrial fib or redoing your energy or wanting to have energy. I mean, that's a want, but you don't have to burn yourself out trying to do that.
Well, if I can, another thing I'm thinking of is, I tease about it, but I didn't have to take any pills before a year or two ago.
Right.
And I'm taking blood pressure and all this stuff, and I don't like when I read what the side effects are.
Yeah.
I just affectionately call them my old man pills.
Well,
if I can get rid of some of those, I'd be very happy.
Well, first of all, we're going to get rid of the old. So for now on, you've been dubbed the young man. I'm sorry, every time I see you, young man, and you're going to fill those shoes, because you're going to start wondering what aging was all about. If suddenly, how old are you?
I'm 71.
Okay.
I'll be 72 in July.
All right. So at 72, you're going to feel like you're 52. Because I'm 74, and I feel like I'm 54. I mean, who starts a new practice, sells their practice, starts a new practice, and is as excited as I am about it at 72? You know, I did it. So I promise you, you know, in fact, you better tell your wife to start looking out, because the young man's going to come in.
Okay.
And you have bragging rights on this.
And did you catch that? That Dr. Whitley is renaming Jim the young man. What's also exciting to see is that the ill health issues that they talk about are the ones that they can see and touch and feel. But what's more exciting is to see the issues that they have that they don't really even realize are health issues, but they have decided that they are just a way of life or a product of aging. And like I've said before, we reject that. Let me say that again. We reject that issue. There are no coincidences. So make sure that the patient sees that as the appliance is in their mouth and they wear it for a period of time, that it is not a coincidence that these ill health issues, some of these symptoms that they have, are beginning to disappear, beginning to feel better, they're just a coincidence. That is not fact. So make sure that they connect the dots between oxygen, lowering of their adrenaline, and that their ailments are beginning to subside.
Because I'm 74, and I feel like I'm 54. I mean, who starts a new practice, sells their practice, starts a new practice, and is as excited as I am about it at 72? You know, I did it. So I promise you, you know, in fact, you better tell your wife to start looking out, because the young man's going to come in.
Okay.
And you have bragging rights on this. And literally, I see it every day. I wouldn't come in if it was even less than 50% chance of you getting, you know, if it was 55% chance you get well, I would watch what I say. But we're right up there around 85%. There's 15%, and I think those people are mostly non-compliant. They say they'll wear an appliance, but they really don't. And they admit to it. They just say, I don't want to wear anything during the day. Well, If you don't want to wear something during the day, let's stop right now. We've already talked about it. You got to wear something.
Well, you're the doctor. I'm really encouraged by your enthusiasm, and I don't think that you would be telling me all this if you haven't experienced this with people.
I am the patient. I can get you out of there, and I sound twice as bad as you ever were. I am the walking dead. These dry bones are alive. All right, so basically, we're not going to say it's stress. We're going to say it's adrenaline. We're going to connect these dots. If by the time we're finished, you haven't felt that it really is adrenaline, you'll be the first in a long stretch of patients, hundreds. But it's important to do that because in our society, everything you see is stress this, stress that, stress reduction. Well, you can't take a lot of that out. I mean, you can change you, but you can't change that.
Right.
We live in a society where, especially on the I-95 corridor, it's bad news.
Yeah.
So
Stress is not the enemy. We can go to all the stress management, stress reduction, and it is not stress. It's adrenaline. So truthfully, if we would rename those classes, rename that category, instead of stress management, stress reduction, it's adrenaline reduction. It is adrenaline management. You can manage your adrenaline, not just by white knuckling it, but by releasing that adrenaline, getting it to stop dumping into your system through that autonomic nervous system. Once we can get the air in and the body properly aligned, then the autonomic nervous system will tell the adrenaline, hey, we need you in order to fight or flight, or hey, we don't need you because our oxygen, we can take care of this ourselves.
Yeah.
So, I've noticed that you're not curled up in the fetal position and quit. In other words, you're a go-go, do-do type person. But that energy level and that zest somehow is vitality is feeling like it's getting drained a little bit. Is that what's making you feel old?
Yeah, probably so. What's making is it the breathing factor that's making my adrenaline rush?
Well, we're gonna talk about that because as we go around this, you'll see the implications of just old age. It's nothing but what you just hit on the head, the nail head with your hammer. You zeroed right in on it, that the situation is blamed on everything else but this. And we focused on everything else but this.
Well, I've always felt like, I mean, there's some kind of stresses that are damaging, but there's other stresses that are exhilarating.
Oh yes, good stress will do the same thing to you. Because in a situation, we call them distractions that come up. You're thinking. Well, when you think, you need more oxygen.
Okay.
Well, according to what we saw on your x-ray, you don't have a reason to breathe.
I know.
There's no pipe.
Yeah,
Your tongue comes down and clogs that whole thing up. So basically, it can't get there.
right.
So guess what? It's squeezing past that little constriction that we showed you, and you're getting it, but you're having to speed up your heart rate. In your case, there's some blood pressure rise. In fact, I think you had a lower heart rate. Aren't you taking some medications for your heart?
Yes.
So some of them may be slowing your rate down at the very time. Most people like to speed up to get what oxygen they have up to the brain. So that there's multiple causes for high blood pressure, but it's not unusual for us to see it drop 15, 20 points. So we tell you about getting off those pills. We don't recommend you doing anything until you talk to your doctor.
Unless I pass out. Because
well, hopefully you're going to be checking yourself every day.
Right.
I cleared it with you that you
Right.
do that, and that's good, because as soon as you start, even tonight and tomorrow, the young man is going to wake up and realize this is having such an effect. I think my blood pressure is lower today. In fact, what I'm going to scare you with is I think my pulse may be normalizing. So you want to talk to your doctor about regulating all that. I don't do that. He's the medical doctor. I'm fortunate to be able to see that the impact of what we're doing affects the whole body,
Okay.
mind and soul. But mostly the first things you'll experience would be the body. It's a three-legged stool, body, mind, and soul.
Right.
So I will tell you, if I'd gone over to the National, well, it's now PNC, bank and robbed it, got $100,000, killed 2 people, and came in here and said I was having trouble sleeping, I could put a 16-inch PVC pipe down your throat, and it wouldn't help it.
Exactly.
So there's people come in here, sometimes they got in a real feud with the family and it's unforgiveness. You know, they've got some terrible things that they have done or thought have been done to them. They have to deal with that, but you can't even get to it if they're not having a good night's sleep or a good day. My most favorite verse is that I've come that you have life and have it abundantly.
Mm-hmm.
If you ain't breathing, you don't have life.
Yes.
And if it's a big constriction like you got, you're hitting on about 4 cylinders of an 8-cylinder engine. And so a V8 would be a lot better for you right now.
I'm ready.
I think you ought to warn your wife, though. She needs a little time to process.
I can't run as fast as I used to anyway.
You will. I'm telling you. It's crazy. Crazy good. So, as I've noted, you know, you're still go, do. It's just now it's go, do, crash.
Right.
And it gets worse. It go, crash. And one day, sometimes people come in here on wheelchairs and walkers, and
Yeah.
I mean, they're down for the count. Some of them been in bed for 2 years.
Well, I look at this as my 50,000-mile checkup.
You know, you're going to call it an overhaul when we're
Okay,
finished,
overhaul.
young man.
Okay.